doing?
I have about 17 cardigans.
Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? All right? Welcome to your Saturday night at the Morecambe Poetry Festival 2025. Louder! Louder! Fucking brilliant. This is now where crass capitalism rushes in. Have you seen our new chatbot, guys? We did loads of workshops earlier on. Give us a cheer if you did any of the workshops. 3 people down there, right? Your work is in this chat book. So we've made a book, and also in there is if you were here last night for John Hegley, and why wouldn't you be, and the amazing Jan Brereton, we had the 2 local poets, the prize-winning poets from the Morecambe Poetry Festival's competition. So all of the prize-winning poets are in the back, and from people who are the first ever poem that they've ever written, to experienced poets and so on. It's all in there. It's been produced this weekend, so that's just lovely. Now, I'd like to welcome to the stage, just genuinely, one of the fucking funniest people I've ever met in my life. And he's been to the festival 4 times now, and he's done a new show every single year. And he's brilliant, and this is all new material as well. And he's a legend in his own lifetime, lunchtime, and all the other times. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Henry Normal!
Now, I say it's new material tonight. This is it, I'm wearing it. My sister knitted me this. She's been looking after me my whole life, my sister. She gave me some advice when I was a teenager. She said, if it's wet and it's not yours, don't touch it. Words to live by. And she made me this cardigan. Now, it's almost my favourite colour. Orange, almost my favourite colour. This is a poem about that. The colour of sunshine, yam and cantaloupe, an apricot or mango, butternut squash soup, a monarch butterfly, kumquat and peach, tangerines or clementines, basketball for the beach, stripes on a clownfish, stripes on a tiger, marigolds, pumpkins, the flames of a fire, an airplane's black box, making it easier to trace, Donald Trump's big stupid face. Thank you. Now, I was over in Ireland last week. I was at the electric picnic, and with the amount of rain in Ireland, I was thinking to myself that's a safety hazard, surely. And I didn't wear this because I thought I'll get beat up. So I wore my green one, and I read this poem. This is Green Issues, for those who like this. Green are the Irish pastures, green the jealousy of lovers, green are the fruit pastels I always offer to others. Very much. Now, I've absolutely loved the stuff at the festival, and I love all the new people coming up and all the experimentation and everything. And we just had on this stage, Peter Symes, who is a genius television producer, and Tony Harrison's films, and some of you were here for it, and God, they made me cry. They're absolutely gorgeous. And I worked in television for years. Many of you know I worked in television. I met a lot of famous people. I met Gorbachev. Oh, yeah, I met Gorbachev, and he said to me, Henry, never name drop. And true to his word, he never mentioned me. I once, this is a true story, I once met Julia Roberts, right? And I'm from a council estate, right? I couldn't say a fucking thing. Couldn't say a thing. I was stood in front of her. This is absolutely true. It was at the premiere for Notting Hill. You remember the film Notting Hill? Right, and I was invited to the premiere for that, and I was stood right as close as about that, close to her. And you know, Notting Hill is about like a famous film star that falls in love with an ordinary bloke. And I thought, I can't do that to her again. So I didn't say anything. So I worked for 30 years in television, and I made 450 television programmes, and I loved it. And I put some poetry on television, and I loved doing that. But what I saw was all the great things that didn't make it to television. And the creativity that we have in this country is fantastic. And the creativity in this festival is fantastic. And it's a poem I've written for my fellow creatives. We get criticised sometimes, and we take it to art. And this is a little poem about that. It's called A Prayer for the Rejected. We start from nothing and build. And you may judge down from perfection, catalogue all we are not, measure against legends and eons, ignore mitigation, dismiss originality as untested, discard uncrafted as unprofessional, destroy with a whim, discount our unborn, belittle our dreams, and despite all this, again, we start from nothing and build. Right, so I'm going to do some brand new poems, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it out, and then we're going to divide up into small groups and see where you should have laughed. So this is a world premiere here in Morecambe. Oh yes, here in Morecambe. And I have a confession to make. I am actually a serial killer, and I suspect there's quite a few serial killers in the audience. Now, serial killers. They usually choose a type of victim. Sometimes it's women, sometimes it's old people. For me, it's indoor plants. So this is a poem about that. Confessions of a serial houseplant murderer. I make evergreens go brown, cause begonias to be gone. As far as indoor flora is concerned, I'm public enemy number one. My succulents now suck. My cyclamen are sick. My poinsettia can't see the point and is going downhill quick. I caused a fern to turn, four-leaf clover to be unlucky, a rubber plant to go lose its bounce, my yucca to go all yucky. My prayer plants don't have a prayer, snake plants shed their skin, spider plants hide in the corner, money trees cash themselves in. My plant pots are cemetery pots. My plant pots, I'll start again. My name's Henry Normal. Gone back too far. Right, okay. My plant pots are cemetery plots. There seems something satanical about my fatal effect on all things botanical. My bird of paradise has gone to hell. My peace lily's in the wars. My amaryllis is taking the piss and trying to climb outdoors. I make my violets go vile, made my banana tree bend, my aspidistra died with a whisper, will this killing spree never end? I caused my cacti to die, my bonsai to turn black, aloe vera to say goodbye Vera. I'm an herbicidal maniac. Thank you.
Satanic panic. We are 14 and we are nothing beyond ourselves. You bring vodka into school. Carla calls me flat-chested and I call her a hairy-backed bitch. When she hits me, you shove her so hard that you fall backwards and everyone laughs except the head nun who brings us to her office where, reclined on the sofa, she tells us about some teenagers who crucified their neighbour and we're not to do that. Then we're off into the laneways to hex all our enemies with matches, tea lights, bottle tops, to be so present tense. Come collect a past with me. I think we can make something from all this broken glass. I need you because every girl needs a friend who goes too far. Every girl needs a friend who goes too. Every girl needs a friend who goes. Every girl needs a friend who. Every girl needs a friend. Every girl needs a. Every girl needs.
So 2 references to Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah, it's fine. In one day. Extraordinary. This is called Football and Girls. I long to be in a song by Simon and Garfunkel, because they're always smoking and reading magazines, travelling on trains in romantic isolation, dreaming of Anne Bancroft as they harmonise on Widnes Station. I long to be in 60s garb with a mod slim silhouette, the tone of Art Garfunkel, an angel in a turtleneck. Steaming out of Saginaw on a steel-slit Greyhound bus with the charm of young naivety, thinking Kennedy was at one with us. Turning into Man from Boy, Cecilia played her part, confirming universal truth. Only girls and football break your heart. Cheers.
Yeah, I've been doing this for rather a long while now, right? I've been doing this for rather a long while, and every few years, anyone who's been doing this, there's plenty of poets in this room, plenty of people who've slaved themselves for the muse for years, and they will all be aware, and they'll all be clear that every few years there's this kind of cultural comet that comes circling round in the heavens, right? It comes circling around every few years. Something will happen. Like a poet will be, I don't know, at a presidential inauguration, or a poet crops up on a Beyonce album or something, and suddenly the comet is drawn into the gravitational orbit of Earth and comes crashing down to Earth, straight onto not on the front pages, but onto page 10 of the Guardian second supplement, right? The comet comes crashing to Earth on page 10 of the Guardian second supplement, and it always says, "Is poetry the new rock and roll?" Right? Is poetry the new rock and roll? Right? And you know in your hearts that when you see something in the paper and it begins with the word "is" and it ends in a question mark, that the answer is no. No. It isn't. It isn't, and it won't be. But for a few brief moments, we poets, us scribblers, you know, all of us, the lame ducks on the golden pond of show business, right? For a few brief moments, the sun shines on us. Right, and then you go out and you do gigs. When that's happened, you sort of go out and you sort of do your gigs. So you sort of travel around all over the place. Well, I do before I became a full-time single parent. Go around all over the place doing gigs, and people will be saying to me, "What's it like, Johnny? What's it like being out there at the cutting edge of the new rock and roll? What's it like, mate? What's it like?" I mean, you do get a few detractors who say things like, "What steps have you looked to find work in fortnight?" No. So words came out all wrong there. "What steps have you taken to find work in the past fortnight, Mr. Seagrave?" But haters are going to hate, aren't they? You've got to ignore them. Anyway, right, this poem, this is a poem. I sort of never really plan sets, but I usually have got one or two that I will start off with, and then we'll just see where it goes from there, right? Okay, so this is last time this happened, I took the liberty of writing down we're sort of keeping a tour diary. And if this was a rock and roll, it'd be a concept album, but it's not. It's poetry, so we call it a sequence. Yeah, it's all a bit of a Faber and Faber word, that, isn't it? Doesn't really fit here. But anyway, okay, this is a portrait of the artist at the coal face of the new rock and roll. The new rock and roll is what I screamed into the face of the lady from the Literature Festival as we sped through the streets of a small Suffolk market town in her clapped-out Nissan Micra. The new rock and roll. And that night at the gig, the poetry reading, I think I smashed it. The ladies from the book club sighed and nodded. And the girl in the tweed trench coat with eyes as dusty and inviting as the windows of second-hand bookshops. I know. She slammed her head to the rhythms of rustled paper and awkward silence before we all melted off into the night like poems bleeding back into raw ink. The new rock and roll. And then back at the B&B, the after party. The Litfest lady cracks open a yoghurt lines up the Earl Grey slammers, as the girl with the bookshop eyes leads me to the bed, and as our Nurofen starts kicking in, we lower our heads and lick hobnob crumbs from the plump stomach of a naked librarian. Right, and that's how every gig ends. That's how every gig ends. Right? They all end like that. They all end like that. Normally, like you sort of do a thing and people hear it and then they go walking out. This time, people come walking in at the thought of a naked librarian covered in hobnob crumbs. This is the quality of the audience at a poetry festival. It is beautiful. It is beautiful, right? This is another one from that same sequence. It's just called simply Gig Library, Stoke-on-Trent. Right. This is, has been put, it's probably a bit more factual than the previous poem. It's a bit more the reality of the new rock and roll. It's a lunchtime gig. It's a lunchtime gig, library, Stoke-on-Trent, audience of about 17 people, mainly pensioners. There is the guy in coat with all the bags who's been making a nuisance of himself, so they've shoved him in there as well. There's a librarian in this poem as well. This is a real librarian rather than the fantasy librarian. Come on, it's a poetry. We've all got one. We've all got one. This is a poetry crowd. It's a poetry crowd. It's a real librarian, not the fantasy like we met in the previous poem. The librarian double checks the audience has emptied their bladders. The stair lift's playing up again and no one wants a repeat of last week. Do they? Well, that's one I've got up on you, Jarvis Cocker. I bet Iggy Pop never gets told to flag up the induction loop for the hard of hearing. And just you try to picture Bowie as they show him to the fridge where they put the rider. A Tesco meal deal sandwich and a meal deal bottle of water. The crisps, Bowie would say, coming on all diva. Where's my meal deal crisps? And just you tried to picture Bowie's face when they told him that the crisps got eaten by the support act. Right, that ends there.
The next poem, again, a memory from childhood and reflects the sad lessons that we all learn about life and death. And this is called At My Pleading. It has been placed in a shoebox beside the fire. I sit and watch the pulsing of its body lying against the cotton wool my mother gave me as she shook her head. The TV flickers black and white. There are sounds, my favourite programmes, but nothing will take me away from my duty. I see no ugliness in its tissue paper skin, its monstrous head, its shuttered blue bottle eyes, and a beak so large but fastened tight against the tempting of my father's mealworms. In the morning, I know, before I look, we have a burial with reverence and tears, as I take in this newfound feeling, sense it will always be there, waiting in the wings.
I'm from Leicester, which is the centre of the universe. I'm retired, but I'm a student at the University of Leicester doing history. And we are great at digging up kings under car parks. So if you find somebody under a car park, let us know. I'll get Tory King onto it and we'll sort that out. This is a poem about Richard the Turd. Lost the war in Leicestershire, Bosworth Field did yield the crown, Tricky Dicky fled to town, his bones did not drown, but buried he in Friar's Yard, the body now in that car park, till opened up once more to sky, when scholars and spiritualists conspired, exposing bones, exposing lies. to a nation's gaze as people pass, then laid again by cathedral mass, and yet another fight ensues, whose claim won the right to use his mortal royal remains for gain, where city profit reigns. But if you listen carefully, you might still hear old Richard please, resigned to lie in a cold concourse, his kingdom gone and lost his horse. So Leicester's gained whence York was stumped, a noble funeral gazumped. The TV and the radio now covered such a regal show, when Queen and all the toffs turned out to give our Dickie a final shout. Long live the hunchback white rose lad, whose body wasn't as Shakespeare said. Now we all know, since he's long dead, transformed he Leicester by his fame, and rich cathedral now he's laid, to remind us of all of how life ends, that even kings have sticky ends.
The rain was a downpour, my pink fleshy legs all drenched in a short white rah-rah skirt, a mottled corned beef look. I didn't mind. I lifted my head to it. I opened my mouth to it, and to all of the sky and the world as it pressed down on me. I wished it was chunks of hail, so it would whip my face and hurt. But it was a pathetic slow drizzle, and I couldn't feel it, so I didn't like it. My little ballet-pumped feet, what with all the trudge, made a ballad out of the rain. I stepped to it. I will never be the same again. We'll never be the same again. Stepping harder on again, and my voice going soprano and shrieky as it got louder in my head. I hummed along inside my head, my chest, where it would now live. It wasn't nice. I wasn't nice. I'd gone into slow motion now, humming and hopping. I could see myself falling through time and staying still. I remember thinking this over and over again, and for years. Like when my periods had started on May the 27th, 1978, outside Adjie's corner shop, while I was eating a Vimto ice cup of the same colour. They had all said that I was too mature for my age. Well, now I was. There would always be a hollowness now in my chest, a hungry, gappy feeling that was never quite filled, and I wouldn't understand it, and I wouldn't eat again without grasping that this feeling would not go away. I'd self-harm a lot now by picking the top of my head, sometimes so badly that it would bleed and become infected, and my neck would seize up for days on the worst days, but I would dig the pain, literally. I wouldn't ever tell anyone. I would just hide it with a clever parting, till scabs baked from the heat of the deed into mini mountains of delicious pain. Once, when I would be by the canal with Billy G, who would later become quite a famous footballer, he would notice a bleeding gash on my head as I'd sit and smoke a fag, he standing above in full view. "Ew, what the fuck is that on your head?" he'd say. "Oh, it's just a cut," I'd say, casually mortified. I fell over and gashed it. "Fucking hell, looks like you need a stitch in it," he said. "Okay," I said, my face as red as the blood on my head. He'd feel sorry for me. I'd not like it because it wasn't attractive, and I fancied him. That night with Gaz, it would change me. An older one in a band in a Harrington jacket and docks. Wasn't I the lucky one? Little me, not a kid. Picked, then pickled in brine, where I would now be an attractive tube of pink, pleasing legs, arms, and more, forevermore. Or until youth would boot me out and maybe mute me. Oh, and breasts, let us not forget them. A big part of the pickling process. Sometimes they could hardly fit in the jar. especially before a period. More sharp intakes of breath. Don't tell anyone, said Gaz, as I once finished zipping up my boot. Oh, but why? I'd say, all proud and confused, and he muttered something about prison, the daft thing. But I needed to get home, so I didn't bother because I was going to get killed. Nearly there now. The street's stone flags had gone all liver-looking again because of that long, slow drizzle, and the street lamps had streaks of dappled light across my face. I galloped over the cement cracks as usual, looking out for the stringy, wiggly worms that were just sent to scare me. It could be really bad in these baby pink drenched best pumps, and the terror of that prospect, coupled with the unmentionable, hurled me on toward a home that wasn't a home.
Fine.
If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Louise the Poet on various platforms. Don't follow me home, yeah. So I'll finish off with this poem that I wrote on Bank Holiday Monday when I was driving back from dropping one of my kids off at a festival and I saw all the flags on the motorway bridges. This is I Want My Country Back. My milk-white daughter, Irish blood, shaved her head. She looks like Sinead O'Connor, says her dad, the British soldier. She looks like something from This Is England, says me mate from Blackpool. She's home from uni with this girl she is dating who is Scottish and brown. And with all the sudden upsurge of Union Jacks and St George's crosses, the front face of fascism, I'm too scared to let the girls walk the canal into town. I want my country back. I want to be proud of these green and pleasant lands, but I can't 'cause of you. And no, I'm not scared of fellas fishing or alcoholics on the cut or thin foreign boys in flip-flops. I'm worried about you, my neighbours and my old school friends. The direction you're driving us leads to a dead end. Let's fast forward this film. You're driving us round the bend and it's a car crash. And you're throwing stones at the ambulance. First you stone the brown and black, then the gays, then the disabled, then the women. I want my country back. And Kelly has always worked in care homes. Big gob, big heart. God knows what she's seen in those underfunded lives. But now she's throwing Facebook darts at drowning boys in boats. I hope her son doesn't get caught up in the violence she is making. And Martin, he lost his mum when he was 11. She was a good Catholic. I wonder what she would think if she saw him vote. Reform, UKIP, BNP, different names, same game, manipulative scroats. And I never expected much from landowning Tories, but now even Labour fails me. I want my country back. I want my country back, so I've got the paint out. I'm turning roundabouts into white poppies of peace. I'm turning roundabouts into red poppies of remembrance. My family didn't die defending the UK from Nazi control to be defeated from within. Have a minute. We all know it's about more than the colour of skins. Bad apples grow from shades of reds and pink. Think. Can we turn the volume down on our anger, please? Can we have a cup of tea of tolerance? And I know people are scared, and I know people are skint, and I want my country back. My milk-white daughter, Irish blood, shaves her head. She looks like something from Auschwitz. Is she the immigrant now? When are you going to send me back? Back where? Back to Scotland, back to Ireland, back to the lands of Angles and Saxons and Viking invaders, back to Africa, where all people are from. Come on, you're isolated. Step away from your phones, join a community hub, or play rugby or football or bingo or anything and give something back. If you've got time to shag flags and paint roundabouts, you've got time to help. I just want our country back. Thank you.
My wife's the greatest person ever to walk the face of the earth. I love her so much. And we were out walking on the east coast of England, near where we live, in Suffolk. And we walked past this place called Minsmere, which if you are fans of Springwatch, you'll know Minsmere. And we were walking past, and it was dusk, it was February, and she went, oh, do you know what? I think it's a good time to catch a murmuration. If we go in there and we're patient, we might get a murmuration. And I went, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And she said, but you have to be patient. I said, no, I can be patient. She said, are you sure you can be patient? And I said, yeah, no, I can. She went, but are you really sure? I said, yes, get on with it. That was a joke, yeah. So we waited there. We went there and we waited for like 4, maybe even like 5 minutes, yeah. Like nothing was happening. I was like, oh, fuck me, this is boring. So I got my phone out. I thought I'll stay on task and I'll look up murmurations just to keep me. So you know when you go on Google and you start typing something in, it ascertains your subject matter and offers you the popular search terms on that subject matter, yeah. Turns out the most popular search term relating to murmurations was, are murmurations worth it? Isn't that the most depressing thing you've ever heard? Oh, murmuration. I thought, look at what cunts are writing that. And then I looked at myself out in nature, staring at my phone, and thought, oh, this kind of cunt's writing that. So I wrote this as a cautionary tale to myself, and who knows, maybe some of you too. And it's called, oh, murmuration's worth it. Are murmurations worth it? Are they though? Really? Only I've got a Rustler's burger and a can of Monster and celebrity goggle boxes on, and I'm watching a video in which a man unboxes a box, and I think there might be a box inside the box. They've got plugs on trains now, and I've got this special battery so it never has to stop. Light, share, light, share, share, light, 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 light. I've got Bombay Bad Boy down my top and a special shaver for my pubes. Hair. Gazing at my navel seems a bit highbrow, so I'm just going to stare at my own hairless bollocks. I'm going to turn all the taps on, something to do in it. God, I'm busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I need to get a new thing. I don't know what something. I just need something. Pass me Amazon. What's on sale? What's good? Are murmurations worth it? Are they though? Really? Only Piers Morgan's joined the sun, and I'm flat out holding onto my screen, and I need to take a picture through an Aperol Spritz and type the boy damn good over and over, or that independent cafe won't go boss. Terrible service. Waitress was fat. Seriously there, mate. Picky blue there, mate. No, I'm a romantic pansexual. It means I love nothing but I fuck everything. I'm going to take a picture of that and like sort of send it to myself. And I've got mental health, and I'm off to Turkey for some new tits, and these pyjamas double as a 3-piece suit, so I don't have to get dressed every fucking morning. Sharp! I'm drinking my breakfast. Careful of my sonnies. They've got a camera in them that films all the nothing that I do. Months and months and months and months and months of fucking nothing. It's all of my stories. Didn't you see it? I tagged you. I built an exact replica of my house in Minecraft, and this weekend I've got to tidy my Minecraft house and then tidy my actual house. So, oh, they were. I really were. What will it be? What will it actually be? Is there an app? Can't you just film it? What if it's triggering? What if it's transphobic? What if the birds inadvertently spell out, I agree with Suzanne Moore? Will someone cancel me? Is that worth it? What if a tree gives me COVID? Will there be a smell? Can we monetize it in some way? Is it even vegan? Okay, I'm only going to come if I can be in the murmuration, like at the front of the murmuration, like I'm the main one in the murmuration. Otherwise the birds are just gatekeepers, man. They're like fascist gatekeepers. What if it makes me feel? What if it's like something I've not had before? What if they soar hundreds of feet into the air, turn this way and that like a vast black kite, a billowing sail, a living lung that expands and contracts in the dying sun, then die from the marsh and cut through me like first love, like loss? Is that worth it? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one and the only Luke Wright!